What's going on, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey to talk about Rasmus Ristolainen and 5 potential trade destinations for him. So if you are here, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like. I'm going to talk about potential trade scenarios for Ristolainen, the potential fit, and the potential pieces that could go back to Buffalo in each scenario. So let's go to the first team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So the Lightning, they lost Strawman in free agency, they lost Girardi in free agency. Even if Sergachev slides over to the right side next to McDonough, you still have that hole on the top pairing next to Hedman. I think if Ristolainen was to head to the Lightning, this could be a great fit. Ristolainen, he's huge. Yes, he's that right-handed defenseman. He would provide a lot of value in this deal. But he's struggled big time, especially in the defensive zone. And I feel like he could learn a lot from a guy like Victor Hedman. They have a lot of the same tendencies, whether it's just the size in itself, the huge shot in the offensive zone, the long reach with the stick. Ristolainen could benefit big time from this deal. The Lightning could benefit big time from this deal. I love the fit. Who could I see going from the Lightning to the Sabres? Well, I'm looking at 3 names. And Palat, Killorn, Tyler Johnson. You could pick from some of these names. And if I'm the Sabres, I'm looking at Tyler Johnson. Yes, there's been some reports that Brisbois is timid on trading a guy like Tyler Johnson. He's very versatile. He can play on the right wing. He can play up the middle. If I'm the Sabres, I need Tyler Johnson in this deal. You don't know if Casey Mittelstadt is able to take on that 2C role full time. So getting a guy like Tyler Johnson and having a 1-2-3 of Eichel, Tyler Johnson, and Mittelstadt could be huge. You could also attach a guy like Palat to this deal, send over one of the smaller cap hits, and a guy like Sherry or Sabatka to the Lightning. I'm sure there might be some picks or prospects included, and this could be one of the deals that become huge instead of a 1-for-1. And I like the fit for both sides. Like I said, the Sabres, they need to move on from Ristolainen. I've said that since they've acquired both Colin Miller and Brandon Montour. They need to move on from Ristolainen, and they could get big pieces back. You want to cash in on Ristolainen right now, and the Lightning could be a big fit to do exactly that. Let's move on to the Winnipeg Jets. So the Jets, they lost Trouba, they lost Myers, they have a hole on their back end. And up front, you still have to re-sign Laine, you still have to re-sign Kyle Connor. And if I'm looking at this fit right now, the 1-for-1 would be, yes, Nikolai Ehlers for Ristolainen, but I'm not sure that would go down as simple as that. There's also another fit that could be a guy like Jack Roslovic. If I'm the Buffalo Sabres, yes, you need that center, you need a guy on the right side, that would be Roslovic, but obviously that would be not really containing a cap hit. I mean, Roslovic right now, under $1 million, and Ristolainen going back to the Jets, that wouldn't benefit Winnipeg. And if I'm looking at a cap that could go back to Buffalo, it would be Brian Little. It becomes a little more complicated and it becomes a bigger deal. If I'm looking at the 1-for-1, it's Ehlers for Ristolainen. If I'm looking at a bigger deal, it becomes Roslovic and other pieces. And there would have to be cap going back to Buffalo. If you're the Jets, you need to keep that cap for Laine, and you need to create more cap to re-sign both Laine and Connor. So let's go on to the Edmonton Oilers. So the Oilers are a team that I feel like we talk about for all targets, whether it's free agency, trades. They have a lot of holes. And if you're looking at the forward group, which I feel like a lot of people on Twitter are already trying to pull from Nugent Hopkins and looking at a 1-for-1 of Nugent Hopkins for Ristolainen. I don't like that if I'm the Oilers. If I'm the Oilers, I'm looking at Puljujarvi being part of this deal. And it might become more difficult because the Oilers don't have a lot of cap space. And it might mean that they need to make a previous deal to make the Ristolainen deal happen in trading one of their bad caps away, whether it's a Brandon Manning or Sam Gagner. Can you even get rid of that Lucic contract? But Puljujarvi, another prospect, a high draft pick, construct a package there, and maybe that could work well. Yes, if you can't do that and you really want to improve on your defense, the Nugent Hopkins for Ristolainen value might work out. But if I'm the Oilers, I want to keep Ristolainen, and I want to keep Nugent Hopkins. I want to keep both of them, and in order for that to happen, you probably need to move on from some of those bad contracts. And Nugent Hopkins, obviously, is coming to the end of his contract. Ristolainen has some term left. It works for the Sabres. It works for the Oilers. The Oilers would complete a top 4 of Ristolainen, Clefbaum, Nurse, and Larson. I would like it for the Oilers in terms of their defense, but if you were losing a guy like Nugent Hopkins, that would obviously affect your forward group big time, so I like the Puljujarvi package better. Let's move on to the Minnesota Wild. So the Wild, if you're looking at the Wild, do they really need to improve on their defense? Maybe not, but in terms of a trade scenario, I really like a potential Jason Zucker for Rasmus Ristolainen 1-for-1. The Minnesota Wild, they already have guys on the back end like Ryan Suter, Jonas Brodin, Spurgeon, Matt Dumba. So they have that top four. They would just be making it that much better with a guy like Ristolainen and the potential that he could have in partnering with a guy, whether it's beside Ryan Suter or beside Jonas Brodin. So I like the fit in terms of the trade scenario. The Minnesota Wild have been trying to shake up their forward group quite a bit. And we've talked about Jason Zucker being in trade rumors. So Zucker would be a huge fit for the Buffalo Sabres. He can play on both wings. But I'm not too sure about the defensive fit for the Wild unless they move on from a guy like Spurgeon. Spurgeon, who only has 1 year left on his contract. So that's something to consider as well. But I really like the fit for the trade scenario. It just comes down to the overall fit. And if I'm looking down at this list of the top 5 in this video, I would have the Minnesota Wild probably lower into the 4 or 5. Let's move on to the final team, the Nashville Predators. So the Predators, if you watched my Kyle Turris video, I talked about the potential of Kyle Turris being moved to the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres have that need up the middle, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. If you're looking at the Nashville Predators, target a guy like Kyle Turris, but make it known that a lot of teams see Kyle Turris' cap as very poor. And if I'm the Buffalo Sabres, I cash in on that. There's been some trade rumors around Tolvanen. I don't know if this becomes a bigger deal, but it's definitely something to consider. You're also weaker on the right side if you're looking at Buffalo. Maybe you target a guy like Craig Smith and trade one of your left wingers to the Preds, who are weaker on the left side. I'm maybe looking at a guy like Connor Sheary. Maybe the Predators could get more out of a guy like Sheary. So I'm looking at the Preds. I'm looking at the Sabres as being a potential fit. Again, as I listed these top 5, it was in no specific order. I like this fit for the Preds. I like this fit for the Sabres. So Ristolainen could go onto that second pair, either beside Ekholm or Josi. Obviously, if it's beside Ekholm, it's most likely on that second pair. The top pair, you're probably going to see a Josi Ellis. If Dante Fabro's not ready for that top 4, don't force him and acquire a guy like Ristolainen. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you are here, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like, comment your thoughts on my trade destinations. Top 5, I gave you some scenarios. I gave you some specific fits. I like this trade idea for a few of these teams, and I really do think Ristolainen needs to be traded. The Buffalo Sabres are way too crowded on the back end. So thank you for watching. Again, this was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.